The stars held no warning of humanity's impending catastrophe. Captain Marcus Drake stood on the observation deck of the UES Thunderchild, Earth's most advanced deep space vessel, watching the distant gleam of the Centauri colonies. After 15 years of interstellar expansion, humanity had finally begun to feel at home among the stars. That was about to change. "Captain, we're detecting unusual gravitational distortions at the edge of the system." Lieutenant Raj Patel's voice crackled through the comm. Drake turned from the viewport, his weathered face reflecting the subtle glow of holographic displays. At 53, he'd seen everything space could throw at a ship. Or so he'd thought. The bridge of the Thunderchild hummed with activity as Drake entered. "Show me," he ordered, and the main display lit up with a cascade of data. The anomalies were unlike anything their sensors had encountered before. Massive tiers in spacetime that seemed to ripple outward like waves in a cosmic ocean. "Sir," Weapons Officer Jun Nakamura called out, her voice tense. "Multiple objects emerging from the distortions. They're massive." The sensor display blazed with new contacts, each larger than any ship humanity had ever constructed. Their design was alien, organic yet mechanical, like living metal shaped into instruments of war. Drake's blood ran cold as the first transmission came through, not in any human language but in pulses of energy that somehow burned meaning directly into their minds. "Your species is unworthy of the stars. The Xeraxian Empire claims this space. Submit or be cleansed." The next 48 hours became the stuff of nightmares. The Xeraxian ships moved with impossible speed, their weapons cutting through humanity's most advanced defenses like paper. The Centauri colonies, home to millions, were the first to fall. Drake watched helplessly as the alien vessels methodically destroyed every human outpost, their energy weapons reducing settlements to ash. "We need to warn Earth," Drake ordered, even as his tactical officer, Thomas Reed, reported more enemy ships entering the system. The Thunderchild's quantum communications array was humanity's only hope of alerting the homeworld before the Xeraxians arrived. The escape from the Centauri system pushed the Thunderchild to its limits. Chief Engineer Yuki Tanaka worked miracles in the engine room, coaxing every ounce of power from the fusion drives as they dodged Xeraxian pursuit ships. "The containment field is barely holding," she reported, her hands flying over control panels. "One more hit and we'll lose the whole power grid." They were almost at the quantum comm's maximum range when the worst happened. A Xeraxian energy beam clipped their stern, sending cascading failures through the ship's systems. "Direct hit to the engine core." Tanaka's voice was nearly lost in the blare of alarms. "We're losing containment." Drake made the call that would haunt him forever. "Redirect all power to the quantum comm. Get that warning to Earth." He watched as his crew carried out their final duties with unwavering dedication. Lieutenant Patel's hands were steady as he input the transmission codes, even as secondary explosions rocked the ship. The message was brief but crucial. Detailed scans of the Xeraxian ships, their attack patterns, and their technological capabilities. As the data streamed toward Earth, Drake recorded his final words. "They're coming. God help us all, they're coming. But remember this, humanity doesn't submit. We fight, and we'll keep fighting until our last breath." The Thunderchild's final act of defiance came as 3 Xeraxian cruisers surrounded them. With failing systems and a critical reactor, Drake ordered all remaining power to the weapons. "If we're going down," he declared, "we're taking some of them with us." The resulting explosion as their reactor detonated took out 2 enemy vessels, proving that humanity wouldn't be such easy prey after all. On Earth, the warning sparked a desperate race against time. Military commands worldwide mobilized as scientists pored over the Thunderchild's data, searching for any weakness in the seemingly invincible enemy. The loss of the Centauri colonies became a rallying cry, and Drake's final message echoed through every preparation. Humanity would not submit. But even as Earth prepared for war, more Xeraxian ships appeared at the edges of the solar system. The greatest fight in human history was about to begin, and humanity's very existence hung in the balance. The stars that had once promised so much now loomed dark with threat, but in that darkness the human spirit of resistance burned brighter than ever. 3 months after the Thunderchild's final transmission, Earth had transformed into a fortress world. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility known as Phoenix Base, Dr. Olivia Winters stared at quantum equations floating in holographic display. Her team had been working non-stop since the first attacks, trying to understand the strange technology that powered the Xeraxian ships. "The answer has to be in the Thunderchild's sensor data," she muttered, manipulating the complex patterns with practiced gestures. At 38, Olivia had revolutionized quantum physics, but now her discoveries needed to do more than earn accolades. They needed to save humanity. General Victor Rodriguez entered the lab, his presence causing a ripple of attention among the scientists. "Dr. Winters, please tell me you have something." The weight of command showed in his eyes. The latest reports showed the Xeraxians had already taken Mars and were systematically destroying the outer colonies. Olivia gestured to the holographic display. "We've decoded more of their quantum signature. The Xeraxians aren't just using advanced technology. They're manipulating the fabric of space-time itself. Their ships create localized quantum fields that allow them to ignore conventional physics." "Can we counter it?" Rodriguez asked, watching as simulations played out showing Xeraxian ships seemingly phasing through normal matter. "Better." Olivia's eyes gleamed with fierce determination. "We can turn it against them. My team has developed what we're calling the quantum resonance cannon. It doesn't just attack their ships, it disrupts the very fields they use to maintain their advantage." The prototype lay in the chamber behind them, a massive apparatus of crystalline structures and pulsing energy conduits. Dr. Kai Yoshida, Olivia's primary collaborator, approached with the latest test results. "The targeted quantum disruption works in simulations, but we need more power than Earth's entire energy grid to make it operational." "That's where Project Phoenix comes in," Rodriguez said, activating a secure holographic display. The image showed a massive ship under construction in a hidden lunar facility. "The UES Phoenix, humanity's last hope, built using everything we learned from the Thunderchild's data, and large enough to house your quantum weapon." Olivia studied the ship's specifications with growing excitement. "The design, you've incorporated my quantum field theories into the very structure. The entire ship will act as a quantum resonance amplifier," Kai explained, his fingers dancing over the calculations. "But we need someone who understands both the technology and combat operations to lead the mission." Rodriguez's expression grew grim. "We've found our captain, Lieutenant Commander Diana Ford. She served as tactical officer on the Mars Defense Station, survived the initial Xeraxian assault, and managed to save half her crew through sheer tactical brilliance." The next few weeks passed in a blur of preparation and mounting tension. The Xeraxians had reached Jupiter's orbit, their fleet growing larger by the day. In the lunar shipyard, Diana Ford walked the corridors of the Phoenix, memorizing every detail of her new command. At 42, Diana had never expected to command humanity's most advanced vessel. But watching Mars fall, seeing the devastating power of the Xeraxian weapons had changed everything. She handpicked her crew, selecting the best survivors from humanity's defeated fleets. Her first officer, Marcus Chen, had fought in the Battle of Europa. Navigation specialist Aisha Rahman had escaped the destruction of the Saturn colonies. Each crew member carried their own stories of loss and determination. The day of launch approached as Earth's remaining defenses engaged the Xeraxian advance fleet. Olivia worked frantically with her team, making final adjustments to the quantum resonance cannon. "The calculations have to be perfect," she insisted, dark circles under her eyes betraying countless sleepless nights. One miscalibration and the quantum cascade could tear the ship apart. Diana found her in the lab late one night, surrounded by holographic equations. "Dr. Winters, you need rest. We launch in 12 hours. Olivia barely looked up. "The Xeraxians' quantum field technology. It's elegant, almost beautiful in its complexity. Sometimes I wonder what drove them to use such magnificent science for destruction." "We'll find out," Diana assured her. "One way or another, we'll find answers." She studied the scientist carefully. "You understand you're coming with us?" We'll need your expertise to operate the cannon. The launch countdown began as reports came in of Ziraxian ships entering the inner solar system. The Phoenix rose from its lunar cradle, its quantum-enhanced hull gleaming in the starlight. Diana stood on the bridge, watching Earth grow smaller behind them. All stations report ready, Marcus announced from his position at tactical. Diana took a deep breath, feeling the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. Begin quantum drive initialization. We're not just fighting for survival anymore, we're taking the war to them. In her lab aboard the Phoenix, Olivia monitored the quantum field readings, knowing that humanity's fate rested on the theories and technologies she'd helped develop. The ship's massive engines hummed to life, and for the first time since the Ziraxian invasion began, hope flickered in the darkness of space. The Phoenix vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a wounded Earth for a desperate mission into enemy territory. They carried with them not just advanced technology, but the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to submit. The real test of humanity's resolve was about to begin. The quantum void stretched endlessly around the UES Phoenix, its crystalline hull pulsing with ethereal energy. In the ship's tactical center, Captain Diana Ford studied the holographic display of Ziraxian space. Their first target lay ahead, a massive supply depot near the Arcturus system that fueled the alien invasion fleet. Quantum transition complete, Aisha Rahman announced from navigation, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. We're holding position just outside their sensor range. Diana nodded, watching as real space slowly materialized around them. The Phoenix's quantum drive had performed flawlessly, carrying them deeper into enemy territory than any human ship had ever ventured. Status of the resonance cannon, Dr. Winters. In her lab, Olivia monitored the complex quantum harmonics that powered their secret weapon. The quantum fields are stable, but we're detecting unusual energy patterns from the depot. Something about their technology is evolving. First Officer Marcus Chen frowned at his tactical display. Multiple Ziraxian signatures detected. Their patrol patterns are unlike anything we've seen before. The alien ships moved with an almost organic fluidity, their formations shifting like schools of predatory fish. They're adapting, Diana realized. Every engagement teaches them more about fighting us. She turned to her combat systems officer, Lieutenant Raven Jackson, a survivor of the Luna battles. Status of our stealth systems? Quantum camouflage holding steady, Raven reported, her cybernetic eye glowing as it processed tactical data. But we'll be exposed the moment we power up the cannon. Diana studied the tactical display, her mind racing through options. The depot's defenses were formidable, 3 Ziraxian dreadnoughts and dozens of smaller craft. But its destruction would cripple their supply lines across multiple sectors. Dr. Yoshida, what about the depot's quantum signature? Kai looked up from his instruments, excitement crossing his features. The energy readings, and they're similar to their ship's quantum fields, but magnified. The depot itself is generating a massive quantum bubble. Could we use that? Diana asked, an idea forming. Turn their own quantum field against them? Olivia's eyes widened as she grasped the concept. If we calibrate the resonance cannon to match their field frequency, we could trigger a cascade reaction. The depot's own energy would amplify our attack exponentially. That's a one-shot gamble, Marcus warned. If we miss, we'll have the entire Ziraxian fleet on us before we can recalibrate. Diana's expression hardened. Sometimes one shot is all you need. Begin calibration sequence, all hands to battle stations. The Phoenix glided through space like a predatory shadow, its quantum camouflage rendering it nearly invisible. In engineering, Chief Engineer Zara Patel monitored the ship's revolutionary systems. Power distribution optimized, she reported. But the quantum harmonics are tricky. We'll need perfect timing. As they closed on the depot, Diana felt the familiar tension before battle. But this was different from any engagement in her career. They weren't just fighting for victory. They were fighting for humanity's survival. Multiple contacts. Raven suddenly announced. Ziraxian patrol wing on intercept course. They must have detected our quantum wake. Time to target? Diana demanded. 40 seconds to optimal firing position, Aisha responded, her hands steady on the controls despite the growing danger. The first Zeraxian energy beams sliced through space where the Phoenix had been moments before. Aisha's skilled piloting kept them ahead of the attacks, but their stealth coverage was weakening. Deep in Zeraxian territory, the Phoenix drifted silently through the debris field of an ancient battlefield. Captain Diana Ford stood in Dr. Winter's lab, staring at the holographic analysis of artifacts they'd recovered from the wreckage. The pieces weren't just similar to human quantum technology, they were identical. These components, Olivia explained, her voice tight with suppressed excitement, they're prototypes of our quantum field technology, but according to the decay analysis, they're over 300 years old. Chief Engineer Zara Patel pointed to a series of markings on one of the fragments. Look at this manufacturing signature. It's in English, Diana. These weren't built by the Zeraxians, they were built by humans. The implications hit Diana like a physical blow. But that's impossible. 300 years ago, we hadn't even reached Mars. Unless, Marcus Chen spoke up from where he'd been quietly observing, we're not the only humans out here. The discovery sparked a frenzy of research. Dr. Kai Yoshida worked tirelessly with Olivia, analyzing the quantum signatures of every piece of debris. The patterns match perfectly with theoretical models I developed years ago, Olivia revealed. Models that came to me in dreams. Lieutenant Raven Jackson's cybernetic eye flashed as she processed tactical data from their encounters. The Zeraxians' attack patterns, they're based on human military doctrine. Advanced, evolved, but the core strategies are undeniably human. Diana called a meeting of her senior staff in the secure briefing room. The holographic displays showed their current position relative to known Zeraxian space. What have we learned? She asked. The quantum technology the Zeraxians use, Olivia began. It's not just similar to ours. It's an advanced version of the exact same designs. The mathematical principles, the engineering approaches, even the basic architectural structure. Aisha Rahman, who had been analyzing navigation data, stepped forward. I've mapped quantum wake patterns throughout this sector. There's a clear point of origin for all Zeraxian fleet movements. She highlighted a region of space that pulsed with intense quantum energy. We're calling it the Nexus. That's not all, Kai added, his expression grave. We've decoded more of their transmissions. The Zeraxians don't call themselves Zeraxians. They call themselves the Ascended. Diana felt the pieces clicking into place. They're human colonists. Somehow, centuries ago, they reached the stars before us. But why attack Earth now? Why hide their true nature? The answer came from an unexpected source. During a routine scan of a nearby system, they detected a weak distress signal, not Zeraxian, but not quite human either. Following it led them to a damaged scout ship drifting in the shadow of a gas giant. The vessel's lone occupant, once revived in the Phoenix's medical bay, proved to be humanoid but clearly altered, enhanced with biotechnology far beyond Earth's capabilities. Dr. Helena Martinez, the ship's chief medical officer, reported her findings with barely contained awe. Their DNA is human but extensively modified, Helena explained. They've engineered themselves to survive in deep space, enhanced their cognitive capabilities, literally rewritten their own genetic code. The survivor, who called himself Nexus Scout Theron, finally revealed the truth. 300 years ago, he explained in oddly accented English, a quantum accident sent a colony ship through space and time. We found ourselves stranded, far from Earth, centuries in the past. Diana leaned forward. The colonists survived? We did more than survive. Theron's modified eyes gleamed. We evolved, adapted. The quantum accident changed us, gave us insights into space-time itself. We built an empire among the stars, waiting for the day we would reconnect with Earth. Then why attack us? Marcus demanded. Why not make peaceful contact? Theron's expression turned dark. The Council of Ascension believes Earth's humanity is contaminated, unworthy. They see you as a failed branch of evolution that must be pruned so the true future of humanity can flourish. The revelation sent shockwaves through the crew. They weren't fighting aliens, they were fighting twisted reflections of themselves, humans who had evolved along a different path and now viewed their earthbound cousins as inferior beings to be eliminated. But with the truth came opportunity. Their quantum technology is based on human designs, Olivia realized, excitement building in her voice, which means their weaknesses are human weaknesses. We can predict them because, at their core, they still think like us. Diana studied the tactical displays showing the location of the Nexus. Then we hit them where it hurts most, their pride. We show these Ascended that Earth's humanity isn't as primitive as they think. The Phoenix's crew worked around the clock, modifying their weapons based on Theron's insights. The quantum resonance cannon was recalibrated to specifically target the frequencies used by Ascended technology. But time was running out. "We're detecting massive quantum disturbances from the Nexus," Aisha reported during a tense briefing. "They're gathering their fleet. Something big is coming." Diana looked at each member of her crew, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes. They had uncovered the truth about their enemy, but that truth had only made the stakes higher. The coming battle wouldn't just determine humanity's survival, it would decide the very future of human evolution. "Set course for the Nexus," Diana ordered. "It's time to show our advanced cousins that Earth's humanity has some evolutionary tricks of our own." As the Phoenix prepared for its most daring mission yet, Diana couldn't help but wonder, when they reached the heart of Ascended space, what other dark revelations awaited them. The answers would shake the foundations of human history itself.